What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. We are doing our match preview today for Southampton away tomorrow at St Mary's Stadium. 8 o'clock kickoff. It's going to be on Sky Sports. I think it's the main event. I'm not too sure. I say main event like it's a pay-per-view. But yeah, we're going to be main game at 8 tomorrow. Tuesday night. We haven't had a Tuesday night game in a while, to be honest. I think Wednesday nights are usually the one. But yeah, as you can tell by the title, Ronnie's Revenge is where we're going with it. Ronnie is heading back to St Mary's for, well, QPR. So yeah, we're going to chat with QPR. Ryan, DB, my man, how are you? I'm good, thank you. How are you? Hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully first day back at obviously work, school, whatever it is. So yeah, Nick, hey DB, I'm good. Nick, how are you? Hope you're having a good day as well. Hope everyone in the chat or everyone in the stream is having a great day as well. Yeah, like I said, welcome in to the channel. And yeah, welcome to the Southampton QPR match preview. Yeah, we've been blessed with a couple more streams this week. We have, just because obviously 3 game weeks are the busiest, and you know, usually I would rather do a recording, but no time, really, no time. So yeah, but we're gonna get straight into it. We are. Nick says, not a great fan of Chair, but is it right he had another setback and will miss another 2 games? Yeah, we'll get into that. I've seen that as well. We'll get into that eventually in today's match preview. But I think there's other news as well, I believe. So yeah. Right, so I can't find out who the referee is first for this game. I'm not too sure who it is. All I can tell you right now, it's at St Mary's at 8 o'clock kickoff, and it's gonna be a tough game. We know Southampton have had their difficulties this season with managers they have, or manager I should say, where Will Steele was in charge at the start of the season, and his time ran pretty much before Christmas, where before we played them at our ground, where their manager, her head coach right now, Tonda Eckert, who took over as interim and eventually took the main job because of impressive results, you know, very impressive results. You know, I can tell you, when I think everyone, you know, was in a mixed feeling about what was going to happen in the home fixture, just because of obviously different head coach. You know, Will Steele just got sacked. I don't think anyone knew what was going to happen. Personally for me, you know, Will Steele would have been the best result if we were going to win that. You know, we did have a good game against them, but you know, chances were just not finished, and they were doing well with the counterattacks. They were Southampton at home. Listen, look, they have a great squad. I'm not gonna lie, they've spent their money on some great talented players that can get their teams into a Premier League position. So yeah, but for where they've come from, Will Steele with their new head coach Eckert, who did a great job. Like I said, I was one of them people that was a big fan after seeing the style of play. When they beat us at home, I thought he did an incredible job, and he did deserve the job. Now, if it was the Premier League, it'd have been a lot differently, but because it's Championship, in my opinion, I think he'd well deserved the job to be head coach of Southampton, and he's done an incredible job with them so far, and he's continued it. Like I said, they have a great squad. They have some serious talent, serious players that are very dangerous on the ball, you know, and they're starting to get used now. One of the players, obviously Ronnie Edwards, who has eventually come over to back to QPR, was not used by Will Steele or even used by the new manager Tonda. And finally he's arrived at QPR a couple of, like, obviously last month, and he's really kicked it off coming back into the team. Ronnie Edwards has. So yeah, that's why the title's called Ronnie's Revenge. Hopefully we can get our revenge back on them when they beat us at our ground. Now, as you can see by seasonal stats on the right hand side there, Southampton has just even more improved from when Will Steele got sacked. As you can tell, the weakest links are probably the keeper. You know, Fellows has got 4 assists. Really bad rating, in my opinion, for Fellows, as, you know, I highly rate him a lot in the Championship. He's a cracking winger. Or attacking midfielder, if you want to call him that. You know, he's one of the midfielders that you can name as the Albrightons, the Knockcarts, you know, all them type of players. That's what Fellows is. He's one of them typical Championship midfielders, such as Jack Clark as well from Ipswich, you know, who have the quality to get into the Premier League. You know, I'm very shocked about his stats, but he's been incredible this season, in my opinion, with 4 assists. Stewart, 2 assists, 5 goals. Listen, look, not the amount of goals that I thought. Most of their goals have come from either Cienza or Azaz on the left and the middle. Listen, look, Azaz is a very important player in the Championship. He's I very highly rate him. Even at Middlesbrough, you know, when everyone knows about him at QPR when he was at Middlesbrough, you know, for a player to be sat tall and very not that pacey on the ball, he does an incredible job with his flair to get past players. He has an amazing shot. He can get in the air. He's one of them very talented attacking midfielders. I wouldn't call him a playmaker, but he's very skillful. You know, he's a very talented, tall, Ilish type of player, kind of thing. But the main person that we need to watch out for as well is obviously not just Azaz, but Cienza as well. You know, Cienza scored a cracking goal at our ground, as everyone remembers, with his right foot going past the keeper. What a shot it was. Unfortunately, defence on the day was let down. So another player to watch out for, 5 goals this season as well. You know, Shea Charles, another talented young centre mid, very box-to-box creative player as well. Downs is very talented, but he's getting on a bit now with 1 goal. You know, everyone knows about Ryan Manning's left back, someone that is very aggressive on the ball and off the ball. He's very good with his feet, very good at getting them crosses into the box. Even his free kicks are incredible, as anyone knows one of the free kicks he scored at the start of the season for Southampton. He's got 5 goals, 2 assists. You know, Stevens, 2 goals from the centre back, 4 goals for Harwood Belis, 1 assist in Roy Keane's son-in-law. And then you got James Bree, obviously 2 goals, 4 assists. You know, that defence is pretty much outdoing it this season for Southampton. We got to watch out for pretty much a lot of the left-hand side, but as you could tell from last time, as I did the preview show for this before, you know, they're going to whip in a lot of crosses, as you can see. They utilise all the players to get up there and attack. So, you know, they're very hard to beat. They are, Southampton. They're very hard to beat, especially now with Will Steele gone. They have an incredible form at the moment. You know, to go from relegation all the way to 11th, just higher than us. You know, even that's impressive for me. You know, they still have the opportunity to get into the playoffs like we do, but you know, they still got to have a lot of better, stronger team, you know, that suits that style of play that their manager's trying to do there. So yeah, so have a look at the comments quickly. Chair's time is up surely. Yeah, seems that. By the way, Ryan could say the same about G if he has another injury. Agree, Nick. Give Southampton a big chance against us, not so much with quality, but they have a great sub bench when we just have a fit 11. I think this one will unfortunately end in tears for us. Gonna be a tough Ole challenge. Like I said, man, already, you know, I think Southampton are a very dominant force now. You know, even with Will Steele, I thought Will Steele would have done a lot better. You know, unfortunately, it didn't go his way. You know, in the same league as Julian Stefan last season, and it just didn't go his way. And they proved it against QPR with his first game in charge, or was it second game in charge, I think, where he dominated, well, completely annoyed me. It did, and I was very worried about that game. So yeah, Southampton's form, obviously their last game was a draw against Charlton 1-1, but they dominated that game completely. 72% ball possession. Expected goals wasn't incredible, but it was pretty in the ones. You know, their formation that they're using is the 4-2-3-1. Cienza got man of the match on that one. You know, Stewart up front. Is that Ross Stewart? I don't know. Yeah, it is Ross Stewart. Ross Stewart is a very tall striker. So yeah, we've obviously had the player leaving to Wolverhampton. So yeah, they beat Leicester in the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago 2-1. Leicester were more the dominant force there. Very surprising on that one. They also beat Leicester again 4-3. And it was a very first half for Leicester, but second half for Southampton. So they put in the tune in there. They did. They beat Watford at their ground, which was a Watford dominant performance, which is expected with what they have as a head coach at Watford. But they got the job done. And Stoke as well. They beat 2-0 away. With a very dominant performance there as well. Unfortunately, ball possession wise wasn't there, but expected goals. So, you know, like I said, they have a very talented team. They do. If we go to, say, for example, Charlton game, see what was there. So, you know, Azaz was playing, Fellows was playing. You know, they still have a lot of, you know, and Dozy, which is a very talented player. I highly rate him. Cameron Archer, very talented striker. They have Nathan Wood, centre-back, who doesn't get any time. There is other players as well there that I know of. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a struggle to go to Southampton. Like I said, in this scenario, I'd rather come out with a draw than a loss. You know, if we win, we win. But right now, with what I'm looking at, a draw would be best for us right now. So, yeah, I'm going with a draw for this game. Like I said, they haven't announced a referee yet. For what I'm looking at, I'm still waiting for them to reveal the referee, but they still haven't done anything until the referee comes out. I can't give you a score prediction because sometimes with the referees, even if I know them well, there's going to be a lot of yellow cards in the game or whatever. But yeah, for us wise, we've spoke about Southampton. They're a very dominant force. You know, we got to watch out for their crosses. You know, their attack is going to be on point. They're going to be high press. They will be. And we need to watch out for that. And 100% going away to Southampton, he's probably going to do the same tactics as he did against Hull. You know, he's going to sit back and wait for the counter opportunities to do that. And it worked against that Hull, and hopefully it can work against Southampton. But it's a bit more of a stronger team than Hull is. So, yeah. Like I said, we're 47 points we are. It's an opportunity for us to get ahead, but I'll be honest, like I said, I'd rather get a draw out of this than a loss. You know, we've got a couple of tough fixtures coming up. We have this game, we got Sheffield United at home, we got Middlesbrough at home, we got Birmingham away, you got Leicester away. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our next 5 games. It's going to be incredibly difficult, especially with the problems that we're having with injuries, you know. And if you look at it, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, you know, that's a lot of games in 1 month, that is. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. The whole of March, I'm telling you right now, we'd be very surprised to get out, to be more than 6 points, I would say, out of what, 3, 6, 9, 12, no, yeah, 3, to get 6 points out of 12, I would say. So yeah, you know, we're very against Hull. We was very. See, I can't say we were disappointed because we won. You know, the game plan worked. You know, it wasn't exactly attacking much in the first half or the second, but the last couple of minutes of the game, pretty much the end of the game, 15 minutes, was really good when we made the subs. You know, very tactically adapted and very well done it was. You know, Kone was man of the match, which I don't know how until I saw the stats of his on the weekend. And he was very dominant with a 9.1, I think it was, or an 8.1. Obviously, they were talking about it on social media today with QPR. And big ups to him, you know. Kone proving us wrong yet again, you know. He's not in great form, but he's been here and there. and we need him for Southampton. We do. We really do. We've got to put a strong team out. And we, like I said, if we've got to do the same thing against Hull and go from there. So, yeah. Let's go back into the chat. If this was at home, I think we can nick it, but still not convinced with our consistency with away form. AB says, Konya was so good against Hull. Hopefully he carries on these performances. Fingers crossed. Nick says, hope Konya is fit enough with all that strapping on his knee. He seemed fine in training. He looked pretty good in training, I'm not going to lie. QB Orion is playing 2 strikers, leaves us with nothing on the bench. Pretty much. That's why we shouldn't play 2 strikers. Nick says, like to be wrong, but I think we might narrowly lose this 2-1. I think 2-1 is you know what? I hate to say it, but 2-1 is very humbling for QPR. Very humbling. And that's not me trying to be negative or whatever, but listen, look, we're going to Southampton. We're not at home. You know, it's going to be a tough game. Our defense has to be on point. I'd be happy with a draw, and that's the end of it. You know, I'd rather be a point away is better than no points. So yeah. AB says, yeah, hopefully he's all good. Otherwise, we have no proper options up front. Ryan says, Oliver Langford is the ref tomorrow. Cheers, Ryan. Thank you for that. I did not know. It hasn't popped up on my... I usually have notifications come through, but nothing has come through yet. AB says, I can see a draw here. Personally, I think it'll be a good game and they play to our strengths. It's hard to say, honestly. You know, for me, I would say this. I would love a draw. I would love a draw, but I know my team. You know, I know defensive wise right now with injuries, it's mad. And all the news that's going on today with obviously what I've heard is a bit mad as well. So yeah. H Football says, is Chair back for tomorrow? No, he ain't. I'll get into that now, in fact. So Chair is not going to be available for at least another couple of weeks. I think it's not a knock or anything that's happened to him. It's more the fact being that I just think they want to be more precautious with him. You know, we've seen today that Thingy's back from injury and back in training in Kowu. It's Kowu, right? I could be right. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. But yeah, he's back in training, the winger, but he's not going to be available for at least another couple of weeks as well. I don't expect him to be rushed because of his hammies. I would honestly personally keep him out for the rest of the season, but if he's fit and ready, then okay. But if he gets injured again, it's not going to look good on QPR. Obviously, like I said, Poku, that's it. Sorry, my apologies, Nick. Poku. I don't know why I was thinking... how I forgot his name. It's because he hasn't been playing, that's why. But yeah, Poku won't be returning for a while. Chair has been told two weeks, roughly 2 games. So yeah, we won't see him. I reckon we won't see him for 2 weeks until March, I reckon. The news that on the new striker has not been revealed yet, but for what my sources are, it's not looking great. It's a weird one. It's a very weird one because it's been all quiet in there. So yeah, very weird. There's no news on Nardi. What the hell's going on with him either? I don't know what's going on with Nardi. Nardi hasn't been in any videos been seen or anything like that. I don't remember him going out on loan. As far as I'm aware, I'll just double check. As far as I remember, he's still at QPR. Yeah. I don't remember him leaving QPR on deadline day. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with him either, so that's confusing. But obviously Joe Walsh is in there. AB says, I love Chair, but I think summer is the right time to let go. We will get a couple of million for him, as his injuries won't be any better with him getting old. He's only 28, right? And I get with the injuries, I get that completely. But you got to give him credit, you know. At the end of the day, he still plays for the badge. And he's still a valuable asset. Do I want him to go? No. I'll be honest, I don't want him gone. But Do I see him going, obviously, in the club expectations? Probably. If he probably will. It's like Jake Clark-Saw, I reckon he will go, because obviously it won't help anything. If you're splashing 20 grand a week on a player to be sitting on the sidelines for God knows how long a season, it's not worth it, you know? We need fit players, and I wouldn't be surprised if Julian wants to resolve this in the summer. And if he doesn't, then it's going to be a bit of a bizarre window. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously at the end of the season, what happens? Everyone will know who's going and who's staying, because you would end up seeing players waving or anything like that. So yeah, QPR like MI5 with all the secrecy and on injuries. I just think it's more laziness, where I don't think it's just secrecy. I think it's laziness where they just can't be asked to pull it out there. This is what I'm saying. For me, I would put out more content out if there was more news on QPR. But because there's no news that gets out that much, I can't put out more content. The only thing that you get is the preview shows, a transfer here and there, and the watch-alongs and the match reactions, you know? We're not like, you know, Man United, Leeds, or anyone like that just throw out information every day for fans. So it's quite annoying, it is. So yeah, it's one of them things where it's either where they just too lazy to even go there or even reveal anything. You know, it's weird. It's so weird. AB says summer. I can see Jake, Varanfield, Nardi all gone, and that will be our transfer budget for what we get for them. Well, I'll tell you this, right? If you watched the Q&A, I had a feeling about this already for the last couple of seasons, but if anyone remembers what he said, that any sales that are made or any profit that is made the season before is usually spent the next season. So, for example, every player that we've bought has come from anything from last season. You know, the Ronnie Edwards thing, I reckon that's also to do with some of the Eze money, probably. But yeah, I would say anything that happens, obviously has happened this season, will obviously go to whatever is happening next season. But the thing that you need to look out for is free transfers right now, what's available, and youngsters, and going from there, because that's what QPR's plan is. QPR always look at these players that are either out of contract or coming out of contract and bringing them in on the cheap. So it's like Moneyball. They're playing Moneyball, which is brilliant for the club, but at the end of the day, sometimes Moneyball doesn't bring in the trophies, if that makes sense. You know, sometimes you got to bring a Moneyball experienced player than a Moneyball young player that you're going to sell for 20 to 30 million in the future. You know, in my opinion, that's why Neil Warnock was great, where he brought in so many players that he thought were more experienced in the Championship, like Ishmael Miller, who else? Rob Hulse, you know, Clint Hill, Sean Derry, you know, all these players that are used to the Championship. So, you know, maybe there is a part of that, but I'll be honest, in England right now, there's no much that you can do because of the money. You know, that's why they go abroad. You know, a lot of the time we're bringing in players abroad between the ages of 22 and 25 and going from there. Do you think we'll see a work anytime soon? No, keep it Ryan, you know we won't. You know we won't. Listen, look, there's a reason. I'll throw it out there. There's a reason why Mudridge, there's a reason why certain players went quiet for loads of months, you know. So I don't think he's injured, I'll be honest. For what I've been told, I don't think he's injured. There obviously the sources that have said things, but I can't say it because be honest, I hope it's not true, you know. But yeah, if it is an injury, hopefully he's back soon. There's no visuals of him being in training whatsoever. So yeah, I can also see Morrison going, as apparently he's been shit for his loan club. The thing with Morrison is that I feel like he's very talented, but there's also a part of it where he made a big step up from going from Wigan in League One back to Bayern Munich 2, then back to QPR. You know, it's a bit of a big step up. So Morrison for me is a talented centre back, but he can only work with one player, I think, at QPR, and the one player that he could probably work with is Ronnie Edwards. I think Ronnie would help him a lot with the ability of having two good young defenders there. So yeah. Yeah, but I don't know if there's anything is true. We both know what we have heard, but I don't know if there is any legs in it. At this time and moment, the sources that I've heard from, it's, you know, it's 50-50. But I haven't seen him in any videos in training, so it kind of points out certain things, you know. I hope it's not it. I hope everything's fine with it, and I hope he is not a serious injury, but just a light injury, and we'll see him back soon. The only news that obviously is Poku's back from injury and he's in training and will be available in a couple of weeks. Chair's not available for Southampton. He'll be out for the next 2 games, is what West London Sport have reported. Obviously, West London Sport have more resiliency than I have, to be honest, to obviously trustworthy. So yeah, if there's any news apart from that, not really, apart from the fact being that QPR have a big game tomorrow. Whether they're going to win it or not is going to be a question on people's lips. So yeah, when is Burrell expected to be back? Burrell won't be back until end of March at least. You know, Burrell's not in training, but Burrell it's a serious injury what he has. You know, it's a very serious injury. So yeah, but Burrell will be back in end of March, I reckon. End of March. They don't want to rush that one, because they do, it's fuckeries completely. You know, we're gonna have to stick with Kone. We're gonna have to stick with Collie, Daniel Benny, all these players until we can sort something out. It's not much longer, but you got to remember when in March. You know, when I say end of March, we're talking weeks here. We're talking weeks, and the season ends in 2 months. Is a valuable asset. The amount of weeks, the amount of goals that we've missed. You know, we could have been in the playoffs if you think about it. So yeah, but going on from here. QPR obviously in recent form. You know, we beat Hull 3-1 there. We lost to Blackburn 3-1 at home. Drew against Charlton 0-0. Beat Coventry 2-1 with a cracking goal from Kone. And then Wrexham the 3-2. Listen, look, all them results. The only one that I'm disappointed with was the Blackburn one. I'll be honest with you. The Blackburn game was a bit of a disappointment, but apart from that, we've been very strong with our injuries. I'm happy with what we're doing, and that is the end of it really for me. We'll see what team he puts out there. If he puts 2 up front, cool, but he probably, like chances are, is going to put 2 up front after the result against Hull. You know, whether you want to mix it or not, that's up to them, but you know, Sato will probably get rested. Paul Smith hopefully is back and ready, and we'll go from there really. Hamstrings are buggers, just ask Kevin again. The thing is with Burrell, at the start, the thing was, it was the fact being is worse than a hamstring, because his whole hamstring was stamped on with studs. So it's one of them things where it could be a lot worse. We're talking probably surgery worse, so it's really bad. AB says true, so not till April most likely. Like I said, the season ends in May. Just at the start of May. You know, we're literally close to ending the season. We have how many games? 46 games. We have literally what? How many games? I'm shit at maths. I really am. So 7. 13 games. We literally have 13 games left. 13 games to make sure we don't get relegated. It's that simple. You know, top 10 for me is the main priority right now. Top 10. And we have to go from there. It's that simple. You know, if we don't finish top 10, this season has been a failed one. It's that simple. You know, so people could disagree with me. You know, it's the honest truth. People can disagree with me, but we've been in a predicament for the last couple of seasons where we have not finished entirely up there where we should be. You know, we're a London club. We got nice, good owners that know how to run a club, and we have players that are worthy of championship material. You know, and the fact is, if we don't finish 10th, what are we doing? You know. Listen, Charlie Austin, I think I mentioned about Charlie Austin a couple of weeks ago about him coming in and helping the strikers out, but someone said that wasn't never going to happen. It's a bit of a different scenario. So, yeah. But personally, right now, you know, we have to be happy. We have to stick with Kone. We have to support Kone, not get on his back so much. I understand it's such a frustrating thing sometimes, but we need to help him. Honestly, you know, it doesn't help when social media posts really stupid shit. I'm not saying it happens, but I have seen a couple of shit on Twitter, which I'm not happy to see. You know, we have a talented squad, and we just have to back our players that we have right now that are not injured. You know we can score goals. You know, Collie is 2 this season, and he hasn't really played much. So, you know, until Burrell comes back and we see this new striker play, then we need to support Kone, and hopefully he can get shit done. You know, apart from that, I just hope defensive wise it improves. You know, I think we need to give Davis a rest against Southampton for sure. He's not been playing well. I feel like we need to play someone differently in left back and probably sort out the defense from there. You know, Steve Cook probably is back against Southampton. So yeah. Some of the stick he gets from so-called fans is so stupid. AB says that the only out-and-out striker we have is Kone. Bit worrying. But that's what I'm saying. It's like you gotta support what you got at the end of the day. You know, I like Kone. I don't hate him. I think he's been out of form, but I will always support when I know a talented striker's in the club. You know, we have Kone, we have Sato, we have Vale. You know, we have really talented players, and we have our maestro, as Ali Fallen approved it, as Madsen. You know, he's our maestro, and yeah, it's just that simple. You know, it's that simple. But yeah, let's get behind the boys tomorrow night. We'll be live from 7:45. We will be obviously be on Sky Sports. So we'll be live at 7:45 tomorrow night, watching Southampton v QPR. Tune in. Make sure you add it into your calendars. Don't forget. I know some of you probably are working, so hopefully you could catch it afterwards when you get back off work. But yeah, we'll be live from 8 o'clock. Well, 7:45. What am I saying? I'm stupid now. The call going into next season is very exciting. 100%. I really want to see these youngsters, some of them go out on loan. I really want Sutton to be fighting for an opportunity in this team, for sure, because I think he's one of the most talented players in that squad since Eze, you know? So, yeah. Noise, Ryan. So, yeah, apart from that, we'll catch you lot tomorrow. If you do want to stay tuned, we will be live on Twitch later on. We'll be playing some games. Probably Arc Raiders. I'm not sure about what's going on with the QPR career mode at the moment, but we'll come back to it when I eventually get back into it. So yeah. Couple last questions. Dan Boy says we can do it. We are playing with belief, like we have nothing to lose. Bit of time gelling the team together this year, but looks good for next season if Julian gets his chance. 100%. I really rate Julian. I think he's one of the best managers we've had for a while, and we've got to stick by him. You know, it's not about a bad result and telling them how fucking sack him and all of that. He's got to go. It's about being behind your team. And you know, there's times where I get pissed off, but at the end of the day, I don't go on a rant on Twitter. You know, unless it was Neil Critchley. Don't get me wrong, Neil Critchley deserved to get sacked. He needed to go. I don't know why we recruited him. You know, I knew Neil Critchley was a shit fucking manager and a head coach, but yeah, when I know something good's happened at QPR, I look at the positives and not the negatives, and we build onto it, and it's that simple. So yeah. But anyway, like I said, we'll catch you in a bit. If you want, we'll be on live on Twitch probably later on, playing some games. So the link is in the description below. Go go check it out if you want to, if you're interested in all that stuff. But apart from that, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you want to. We'll catch you tomorrow night. Peace, love, positivity. Shout out to all you guys in chat again, killing it. Leave a comment below what you think the score prediction is going to be. I am going to go with a nice 1-1 draw at St Mary's and a Kone goal, I reckon. So yeah, apart from that, have a lovely evening. We'll catch you tomorrow night.